put my microphone on. We'll call us to order. This is a conference committee on Senate File 2028 engrossed. And we thought it was a great bill when it left the Senate. So tell us what you guys did.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And basically, we made three changes, but we would like to move with the amendment, we would like to move the notification day from 2 to 4 days, just to give people time to be at these events. That was one of the items we did. The other change that we made, and this happens kind of in two places, is to we removed some of the language on page 2, and I believe it is on page 6 where we removed it on. So if you look at line 2, or page 2, lines 12 through 15, we removed some of that language to make it with more of a, and the way we worded it was kind of to make it more of a public meeting without a limit. I know that limits are an area of concern, and we certainly would be happy to discuss that one and see where we go. And I think, let's see, what was the other change? I think that our last change on our amendment was kind of unimportant. It was, it added something that's probably logical, whether it's there, it's not there. And that's the page 8, line 3 change. Really not that important, after which the machine shall be sealed. Not really a critical change. I think it's kind of assumed in the bill, but
standard practice.
yeah, right. So I'm not sure that's real critical, but the two areas I thought might be of worth, where you might have your biggest concern was on those, the first one, the 2 to 4 days, and then the second one, just removing the limits on the people in the room. So
Okay.
those are the two major changes, and just would like to hear what your concerns are, sir.
Okay. I think committee, jump in here. We were concerned about kind of security of the machines and having too many people in a room around the machines, and thinking that you could have a lot of people show up for this, and it might compromise the actual election efforts. But Mr. Chairman, if we do have people that want to testify on this, and if it's okay with you, why not?
Sure.
And I know Mr. Secretary, he's reached out to me, and would you like to start us off with thoughts about this bill, Mr. Secretary?
Sure.
And what might work, and then we can do county clerks, and we can take members of the public.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we're pretty close on this bill. I think this bill has a lot of important concepts, and it really is a technical bill. The heart of the matter is really, I think, on the notice and the number of people in this sort of in the room at the time of the testing. Now, I want to note, currently in our chapter, I believe it's 26 rules, section 6E, chapter 29, voting systems, section 6E, the county clerk shall hold a public LNA test of the voting equipment before any ballot tabulation device is used. The county clerk shall notify in writing, as specified in 22-10-108, the chairman of each political party and all independent candidates, informing them of the date, time, and place for testing the ballot marking and ballot tabulation devices. Other witnesses may be present. And so I think that, that really opens it up to as many people as the room will fit can be there. And I think that's where you're trying to go with the amendment. I mean, my concern is that with the county clerk's discretion, does it become, hey, 3 is all that necessarily needs to be there? And so I think, maybe increasing that to 5, somewhere in that range would be nice. I think we've got a nice healthy middle ground on the notice where that could go to 3 days, because the House position is 4 and the Senate position is 2. I'd like to increase the 3 a little bit on the number of people, the minimum people in the room. But in terms of the seals being broken, I think I think that is practice, but so it doesn't necessarily need to be in there. So I think there's room here for a bill that is really reasonable. I think we're very close, and yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay, Questions for the secretary? Thank you, Ms. Secretary. How you doing, Mr. Rubino?
Good.
Good. Let's hear from let's see if the clerks had their Wheaties. Let's check it out. You guys have your Wheaties today? Ms. Langford, do you want to start? You're both
Morning,
on.
Mr. Chairman. Do you hear me well enough?
Yes.
I'm Mary Langford, and I have the honor of representing the county clerks of the state of Wyoming. And I'm also joined today by the Honorable Julie Freeze, Fremont County Clerk. Some of the issues that we have, we want to talk about the number of days again. We had proposed 2 days because there's a number of things that can happen at the last minute that we need to be able to deal with. And one of our concerns is what happens if something does come out or happens. We're delayed to maybe day 3 when our bill says, or our law says 4 or 5. What happens then? Do we charge ahead and say, oh, gee, we can't make it. We have things that happen that are out of our control. There can be ballots that don't show up. There can be test decks that don't show up. There can be delays. I've experienced delays in my life, in my election life, that put me into testing over a weekend before a Tuesday election, and having something that was in error in our counting equipment. And this is back in the punch card days for us old folks, but it was back in the punch card days, and we were testing on a Monday because we had our test deck flown into Jackson, and I had to have somebody go pick it up because you don't get overnight mail in Pinedale, Wyoming. So I mean, there's things that can actually happen with that can delay us, especially November with weather and different things like that. So we're still concerned. We still like 2, and I think, I would imagine that Clerk Freeze probably has some opinion there too. The other piece of this is dealing with the space. And I've testified in front of both of you committees about the space of the room and the size of the room and how many people we can get in there and what makes sense. And we're really talking about security versus transparency. And security for our equipment and for our testing and our election are paramount. That's the job. Transparency. If you're in a small room, we're concerned about, we have our equipment in small, secure spaces. Do we want the public people walking through those small spaces? How many people are we able to accommodate? We've also heard out from clerks that say, hey, I have a huge room and I don't know if I can manage a lot of people in my huge room. So it's that whole discussion of security as well as transparency. We have visited about the possibility of bad actors showing up at our testing to try to, cause problems there. We've seen a little of that in one of the counties that tested in the last election, where a lot of people came in and they had their hands on everything and they had stuff with them and all that kind of stuff. And there needs to be discretion. There needs to be security in that testing spot and during that testing. I think the last piece where they talk about resealing, that's standard procedure. Why would you unseal something and make sure that it's fine? You're going to send it out to a polling place and not have it resealed. That's standard business. So we appreciate that being put into the bill to make that clear. But it's not anything really new. So, and with that, I think, Mr. Chairman, unless anyone has any questions for me, I'd like to hand off to Clerk Freeze.
We can do that. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Langford? Okay. Let's
Mr.
get
Chairman,
go ahead, Ms. Freeze. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Julie Freeze, Fremont County Clerk, and speaking for the Clerks Association as their elections chair. So when I look at the 2 days in the bill, it says not later than 2 days. So that gives, if I can do it earlier, I can do it earlier. If I can't, then I at least have to do it 2 days prior. So In this day and age, I have contacted my party chairs. I'm really lucky in my county. Most every time I tested, I have a Republican and Democrat. This has been for years. But I can email them. I can do about anything, and the same for the press, you know, to put that out there. Really great in our county. I send them things in a group email and say, hey, we're doing this on this date. It could be for commissioners or whatever. And they get that information out there. We have our social media page in our county where I can put on Facebook, hey, by the way, we're doing the testing on this day. So I believe we can get that done. I'm going to remind you again and again and again, the county commission or the county clerks are dedicated to making sure that we move more information every year into uniformity. This would be a uniformity thing we are working on is our testing. We want to make sure every clerk understands the process of this bill or any other bill that has to be done with testing, that we're all doing the same thing. Again, we don't want to get ourselves in a space where we're in trouble because we didn't do something right. So we are working really hard to make sure that all of those things happen. As far as the space, I actually was going to go over to my brand new warehouse that we were able to, with ARPA money, build for elections and show you what I have over there. But I wasn't sure I could show you from my phone. We made like a 30 by 40 building, which is pretty full now with my machines. And I asked for the occupancy on that because I always have people come to my testing. I expected to be able to see how many people I can put in there. 6. It's 6. And I'm like, oh my gosh, does that mean if I have a bunch of people that want to see that, am I going to be taking it over to the commissioners? Am I going to find a way to live stream it? I know I think Laramie County may have live streamed their testing. I mean, I think we need to get innovative about that, but we can't be restricted. So the safety and concern of the rest of my stuff in that building, I have people helping me with the testing, my staff helping with testing, my parties, and then people watching. And most people should be really good. But there was a county where while they were trying to test, they had title boxes for their vehicle titles stacked in this same room, because we all don't just have just a room for stuff. And they were going through her boxes. So now we have to hire somebody to watch to make sure that the things I'm supposed to be making secure and safe to be out in the public, that I say, yes, nobody's touched them. I have chain of custody for that. I'm writing off that nobody has touched that but me and the representatives. Am I assured of that? That somebody hasn't put some kind of device on my cages or my other supplies? So I'm not saying that's kind of like worst case scenario. I think people can be decent, but you have to understand, we have to be able to know that in our areas, we can make sure we can manage it. I think that's the biggest thing we would like to express to you is we want security, we want transparency, we want to do this right, we want to be successful. And with that, I think everything that Mary said, I'm just really totally backing that up as what we actually do. You can take any questions.
Questions for Clerk Freeze? Any questions for Clerk Freeze? Clerk Freeze, can I ask something though?
Yes.
If you could have anything you want on this bill, would you prefer that it just die for now and we work on it later?
Working on a bill is fine. I believe through our uniformity, we've always been open to the public. I've heard maybe that somebody hasn't been open to the public, but I know one clerk called another one and we said, yeah, it has to be open to the public. So if it did die, yes, let's look at it next year. Let's take a look at it through the year and find out what the best method is. But I will tell you this, the clerks are going to continue to make it open to the public. And we're probably going to make sure that we can maintain order while we're doing it through our uniformity.
Okay.
That was
So-
kind of a political answer. I apologize.
Well, it's political world. So if this bill died, the clerks would still continue a commitment to make testing publicly available.
Absolutely. I can say that with pretty certainty because we are working on our uniformity for testing.
Anybody else? Would anybody else in the room like to address the issues between what the heck? just thinking 2 days, we're gonna miss hearing all these people. I'm not saying we wouldn't miss you right now, Ms. Simmons. I didn't mean that the way it came out.
Right back at it.
It sounded to me like you'd really like to miss me. Gail Simmons, Civics 307. Uh, this is not a bad bill, Mr. Chairman. The changes that were made in the House actually kind of made security and transparency clash. Right. So when I looked at the three basic things, right, the 4 days, which again takes it over the weekend because it's Tuesday, and it's like, well, what does that really help? Because everybody knows this thing's going on and are waiting, knowing that they're going to get the notification. So if 4 days is problematic with the clerks and 2 days works, then you should keep it to 2 days, as we like to let people know. And I think that the addition that the House did, Mr. Chairman, on reiterating that it needs to be resealed, that may be in practice, but I think it doesn't hurt to have that added in here, because it does reinforce the idea that all of this is security as well as visibility. So that helps with security. This taking away the clerk's discretion, where every single county is different, and the fact that they already have processes and rules, I think, about that visibility, that to me is problematic from the House. Taking those words out, where you're providing the clerks the ability to assess their county, the amount of public that wants to show up and what they have available. This is at a time when security has to be absolutely paramount. So whatever the trade-off is, keeping that security is really critical. And this language allows the clerks to say that. Otherwise, you get 10 people and they say, why can't we come in there? And the clerks are left holding the bag, because they're having to explain that they're not trying to hide things. They just have got to keep secure. So I like the idea of working it over. I think that you can make this work. I think that the House amendments did not help. But if you really want to have an elections bill that makes it through, I think the Senate version gives you that right balance of having it be visible, but having it be secure. And I stand for questions.
Anybody? Ms. Simmons, you weren't paid or coerced for your testimony, were you? That's a joke. And I know you weren't.
Yeah. So exactly.
It's just that we love when people love the Senate. You got to understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you. Well, what do you want to do?
Mr. Chairman, I think that, after we actually talked about it on our side, and we would, like I said, probably prefer the longer days, but we are very comfortable actually receding to the Senate position. If that's the way it should be. I understand their concern, and I do like the wording is not later than 2 days. I do know the people, they will notify as much as they could, but and we were very comfortable actually replacing the language on the lines 12 through 14. Originally, we would have liked to, we would still like to say, can we move that number up a little bit from 3? I would like to make sure we give the public an opportunity to view it. If 5 or 7 is an acceptable number, maybe based on Clerk Freese's discussion, maybe 5 is a better number. I just want to make sure we don't cut that too short. Not that they're going to intentionally move that, but I would say that if the Senate is uncomfortable with that type of move, we're comfortable restoring to that point. That's one area I think that if we could move that up a little bit, just to give the public some extra, make sure there's plenty of opportunity for the public to see it. But again, I wouldn't die on either one of those hills in terms of that. I think the bill has other things that are very valuable, that help us bring consistency to this process. And so I consider it valuable.
I did
in
hear
that
a
term.
motion from Doc Stater to go with the Senate position.
Oh, sorry.
Should we address that? It's still on, you have,
Need a second?
we might as well have a second. The House has different rules. Second by Landon. Discussion. Representative Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not uncomfortable with the Senate's position on this. I like the language that says not less than 3 members because it doesn't limit them to just 3. I live in this county and we've had testings where many people appear and there's a large room and good security and everything is very well ordered and handled. And certainly we're not limited to 3 people. So I'm good.
Anybody else? Should we call the roll on that proposed amendment?
Sorry about that, Mr. Chairman.
And really, it's a roll call on the bill. It's the final vote. We would just, that would be the conference committee report. Everybody understand? Okay.
Okay.
Call the roll.
Representative Locke,
Aye.
Representative Lucas. Representative Yin,
Aye.
Senator Case,
You gotta, maybe you gotta do, well, I'll just say no, but
Senator Dockstader.
Aye.
Senator Landon.
Aye.
got it. This was fun. You guys are very accommodating. That's not like we heard. Thank you all. Let's go home. Thank you for the Wheaties. Have a good one. Julie, we're gonna get some rain today or snow? Rats.